Mike, turn your games down.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 176 of Games My Mom Found. I am Mike Albertin, and who's running through Castlevania with me tonight?
Hey, it's Kickstarter stretch goal Kerry Chandler, Carusetta on Twitch.
And Josh Karnel, a friend from Overblood online community.
That was your first time on the show, so thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
And I'm going to put this in the intro, so I have no choice but to do it later. I am going to be doing a Steam giveaway. I've been meaning to do a Steam giveaway for about 3 weeks, and I keep forgetting. So there, at some point in the middle of this episode, there will be a Steam code giveaway. Do I know what? No idea, but there will be one. I have 25 codes to choose from, so surprise. All right, and we are here to talk about Bloodstained Ritual of the Night. Developed by Artplay, published by 505 Games, came out in 2019. Oh, okay, so it was right before the end of the world.
Yeah.
I thought it was older than that.
It was announced in like 2014, so it was a while.
Okay.
This is one of those like perpetual Kickstarters.
Yeah, this game was announced like so long ago. I remember back in maybe Comic-Con 2017, there was a demo, New York Comic-Con, that I got to play.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I was not a fan of Castlevania at the time or like anything like that. So I was just kind of wandering around, saw the demo, played it, and was like, oh, that was pretty fun. That was pretty cool. And then lo and behold, like 2 years later, maybe like 2018, I became like huge Castlevania fan. And then of course, when Bloodstained came out, yeah, it was great. I loved it. And I was like, I can't believe I didn't realize what I was playing at the time.
Yeah.
I never kickstarted anything, but this is a game that I wasn't as into Egavanias at the time, or Metroidvanias, or whatever word we want to use. I wasn't into them at that time as much as I am now. That grew on me later.
Yeah, this is my favorite genre of games. I didn't really get super into them until I think 2017 is when I really got into them pretty hard. And, Symphony of the Night is probably maybe my third or fourth favorite game ever. And I never played it before like 2017 or 2016, maybe. Might have been 2016. And that's kind of when I got into it. And now, I've beaten it multiple times, and played randomizers and all that. And I've now like gone through and played basically all of them. So
I still haven't yet. I kind of regret that. There's a bunch of Metroidvanias that I've skipped for.
Oh, well, yeah. There's hundreds of. Oh, you mean
Castlevania ones? I never played. I never played Order of Ecclesia.
Order of Ecclesia.
And
I haven't played that one. Or Portrait of Ruin. Dawn of Sorrow is great. And speaking of Egavania, that's one of Iga's games.
Well, Dawn of Sorrow is going to happen now because somebody told me there's a mod where I can get rid of the stupid having to draw the glyph. I can just click something. So it's going to be on the show now.
Absolutely. That is the way to play it, because that is literally the only bad thing about that game, in my opinion. Otherwise, I would say it's the best of his games, probably.
Oh, it's the first one,
and it's not even that bad part of the game. Like you're just tracing. It's not like you have to memorize anything. You're just like, all right, yeah, let's do this, whatever.
And you only have to do it like 6 times too.
Yeah, but I love Dawn of Sorrow. Aria of Sorrow, I personally like it better. I think just because of its simplicity, sometimes less is more. But Dawn of Sorrow is still they're both masterpieces. But
they really are. I played Dawn of Sorrow and then Aria of Sorrow. So for me, Dawn of Sorrow is the one I prefer. But Aria of Sorrow is the one where I'll play randomizers also. So I have a randomizer run of Aria of Sorrow going right now, actually.
Yeah, a few years ago, I went GameStop hunting just to find physical copies of those DS games.
Good luck.
And the only one I'm missing, I think, still is Order of Ecclesia. Yeah, because that one's hard to find and expensive, but I still haven't started Portrait of Ruin either. So I'm excited to get into those.
Portrait of Ruin is really good.
I wonder if Order of Ecclesia is on the Wii U eShop.
I don't think it is.
Konami. That's all I gotta say.
Did Konami take stuff down? Because that's where I bought most of these games.
Oh,
it was on the Wii U eShop.
Last time I used my Wii U was to buy Pokemon Snap for this show because I couldn't emulate it very well. I can't tell it. I won't use Nintendo Digital Shop because I got burned with the Virtual Console on the Wii where I bought a ton of games, and then my girlfriend at the time took our Wii with us because I said she could if she left, and then she left, and I was like, oh, that wasn't a good idea. So
We've been saying Igavania a bunch. Do we want to talk about who we're talking about here?
Iga is the guy that made the Castlevania game Symphony of the Night and made the games that kind of really, in my opinion, jumped off the Metroidvania style. He did Circle of Moon, Area of Sorrow, Harmony of Dissonance for GBA, and then Order of Ecclesia, Portrait of Ruin, and Dawn of Sorrow for DS. Yes, I know I said those in the wrong order, but
yeah, and a bunch of others. I mean, he actually goes back. Like he's got like a special thanks credit in Castlevania Rondo of Blood, which is my favorite of the traditional Castlevanias.
So good.
Yeah,
I never played it.
Yeah, I've only played the remake for the PSP, the Dracula X, which is like a 2.5D remake of it. But yeah, he's got a special thanks in there, and it's because he was dating someone on the staff. Is what I think that is. But he also was working for Konami at the time. He was just making other stuff. But
okay, but that's what he's famous for.
He's the assistant director on Symphony of the Night, and then he's the executive producer on all those other games. And so whenever people talk about Metroidvanias, they'll sometimes break that down into your more shooty type, like Metroid is Metroidvania, and your more jump around with a sword type is your Igavanias, like Hollow Knight and so on.
Which I like better. I like when I can level up because I get lost tons in games like this. I did in this game too. And getting experience for backtracking, to me, will keep that little ticker in my head going, and I won't lose, and I'll be having more fun because I know at least I'm gaining something for my time that I'm wandering about doing nothing.
Yeah, the RPG elements is probably another key factor of what makes it an Igavania versus a Metroidvania. But
because I don't like it if I don't have RPG elements. I mean, I will play it. I have, but I don't. Yeah. It's not the same. I need that RPG element to make me really want to dig into the game. Like, example, this game, I had played it once before, back in 2020. My previous co-host Mike had bought this for me for my birthday, and I had never played it before. I'm like, okay, and I started playing it, and I got really into it in November. But then, with the show, I busy with other games, and then December came, and I worked at FedEx at the time, so I was working 60 hours a week, 6 days a week. I just couldn't keep playing it. Then if I fall off a game, I can't go back. I have to beat a game. I have to play a game pretty consistently, otherwise I just couldn't do it anymore. And I was also trying not to cheat, which is really strange to me, not to cheat in a game, like not to use a map, not to look up stuff. And then I just got stuck. I just got too busy and life moved on. And then I'm like, I'll get to this someday. And that's why it's on the show. Because I just I gotta play this damn game.
Yeah, like I love the RPG elements and specifically in Bloodstained, because it's just, having all the different types of weapons was really fun. But like sometimes the games can, like I was saying before, less is more. Aria of Sorrow has that like perfect mix of RPG elements and also keeping it simple like a Metroid game. Like the RPG elements are there.
Yeah,
Aria's overwhelming.
Yeah, Aria is a small map. You can only equip 2 shards or 2 souls at a time, and that's kind of what I tell people. It's like Aria's great, and then Dawn of Sorrow is, hey, you like Aria? Here's Aria, but some more of that. And then Ritual of the Night is, oh, you liked Aria and Dawn of Sorrow. Here's that, but like triple that much. You want, instead of 2 souls, you're going to have like 6 souls equipped at once. And also like full set, you're not going to just have armor and weapon. You're going to have something in each hand and just like all that kind of stuff. But I love it. And this is, Symphony of the Night is one of my favorite games, but Bloodstained is, I don't know. It's one of those where I'm like, it's not my favorite, but I do really hold it up there. And I think without the nostalgia and a time commitment I've put in those other games, it would maybe be my favorite. But I also do see what you're saying, that the less is more thing. This game, it's dense. There's a lot. Yes. And there's a lot of shards that you're just never going to touch.
Yeah, but also like something I think the game does very well is that the map isn't too big. I think it's perfectly sized.
Oh yeah.
And it fits so much content into its perfect size. Like it could have been probably twice the size and would have felt barren, because I feel like a lot of games.
Castle. It feels right. Like it's half the size of Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
And not even counting the inverted castle part.
Yeah.
It's
and I
been
like
a bit.
that they still put an invert in this though, but his you invert instead of the. I like that.
I did
mean,
like
really,
that too.
Yeah, but really, just like I guess the main castle is about as big as Symphony of the Night, right? But then
I
you
think
also
so.
have like
It feels smaller to me, but maybe
it
I don't
feels
know.
a little smaller, yeah. But then there's also like the little extra like 8-bit areas, like the side areas that kind of like give it a little bigger feeling, even though it's not as big, right? Like it has all these little secret things in the castle for
You mean like the Millionaire's room and the Warhorse room and things like that, or
yeah.
Or the 8-bit. The 8-bit. The 8-bit boss that you have in this game, where you literally end up look like you're playing a Nintendo game for a little bit.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
What am I?
You never done this, huh?
I don't think there's
in the top left corner when you right by where you go fight. Oh, there will be spoilers for this game. It doesn't matter. But when you go fight Gebel, there's a ceiling you can break. When you break the ceiling, you go in there and you get the Celeste key and a couple other things. If you if you jump up and break the wall on the far left side, you go into another special room with a picture of with an actual portrait of Iga and a glowing bookcase that then sends you to an 8-bit world. Looks like 8-bit Castlevania, and you fight a boss.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you go through like a whole 8-bit level.
I did that when I beat the game like 4 or 5 years ago, and I forgot about that. Yeah, no, okay, I remember that now. Okay,
it's a super cool Easter egg of just
yeah, and there's a bunch of 8-bit like songs that Yamane composed for it, and like there's a surprising amount of 8-bit songs that she composed for this game. But yeah,
really cool.
I mean, this game is kind of, I guess, considered a spiritual successor to Symphony of the Night in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's Castlevania with the serial numbers filed off because he left Konami and then made this as a Kickstarter.
Yeah, I mean, because it plays. I mean, you have freaking a character in here that looks just like Alucard. You have a boss fight that looks just like a zombie version of Simon Belmont. Like you have all that stuff in here.
And like, I mean, like Josh just mentioned, you've got Michiru Yamane doing the music. Who she's done music on other Castlevania games before too.
Okay. Yeah, she did almost all the Castlevania games since Rondo of Blood, I want to say. So she's done all of that music. Yeah,
this game could have
Blood, Symphony of the Night.
Actually, Bloodlines, I think was her first. Yeah, her first game. Yeah,
Genesis.
Which is right after it's the Genesis game.
Which is also very underrated.
Yeah,
did an episode about
that. I've played. I think that is included in the Dracula X Chronicles as an unlockable, if I remember correctly.
It's not. It's in the Castlevania collection.
Oh, it's a Castlevania
anniversary collection.
Okay, it's the Super Nintendo one that's unlockable in Rondo.
Yes, Dracula X, which is the Super Nintendo version of Rondo Blood, but
yeah, it has Super Nintendo version of Rondo Blood, and then Symphony of the Night unlockable. That's right.
Yeah, those Rondo Blood versions are so weird because you have the Super Nintendo version, Dracula X. And then you have the PC engine, like Rondo of Blood, proper.
Right.
Yeah, and then you have the PSP remake.
Which has all of it.
Yeah, and I still feel like that original version, which they re-released on PS4 with the Requiem collection, whatever it's called, it's still the best. Just like that, the art in that is perfect, and the sound font that game has is just punches so hard. It's great.
It is really good. Yeah, I don't like to rebuy games, but I've bought Symphony of the Night like 4 times now in one way or another. I just got a PS5 in the fall, and one of the first things I did was buy that Requiem collection when it came out. Or
the Requiem collection. Hey, you're letting Konami know that you want more.
That's my thing. I bought all the Konami collections, including the Contra one, and I hate Contra. I hate. Yeah. I didn't buy it because I wanted to vote with my dollar for Konami to keep putting out games instead of making pachinko machines.
Yeah, I just didn't get the Gradius one, but I also got the that limited run ultimate big ultra collector's edition for the anniversary collection.
Right.
I bought that like a year and a half ago, and I'm still waiting for an update on it.
Oh wow.
Yeah, but like I need Konami to know that, hey, people want Castlevania games, and if you're not gonna, do anything with it, just please sell it. Please sell off your IPs.
Yeah. So yeah, I bought the Castlevania collection, the Contra collection, the Space Shoot 'em Up collection, the Advanced collection, and Requiem.
I should buy the Advanced collection.
And on top of that, I've also bought Symphony of the Night on on PS1, and then I've got at least one PS1 copy of it. I bought it on PSP.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've bought Symphony of the Night.
Also.
Yeah, I'm just and then the thing is I almost exclusively play Symphony of the Night randomizers on my PC. So
Well, there you go. Then they have it on mobile now too. That came out.
yeah,
a few years ago.
I didn't buy it on mobile, but
It surprisingly, like, with touch controls, works way better than you think. Like, they have good, like, button assignments on the sides.
Yeah.
It's not that bad. It's not great, but it's not that bad.
If it goes on sale, I might buy it. But I hope that Koji Igarashi gets a little bit of each of those. He gets like 10 cents every time I do that. Or
Probably.
I feel like knowing Konami, they probably something in the contract where you're just disassociated. But who knows? They don't seem like the best. I love their games.
Speaking of the Kickstarter, also, have y'all played Curse of the Moon?
Yes.
I have not. It will be on the show, by the way.
So Curse of the Moon was a stretch goal, and it's a prequel, but it actually came out a year before Ritual of the Night. Yeah,
it came out before because it was taking so long for Ritual of the Night to get done that they wanted to put something.
And they had but it'd been a stretch goal that they would make like an 8-bit like, and it's basically it's a spiritual successor to Castlevania 3, and it's in that same style where you switch between characters and you have and all that. But it's really neat because I played it after Ritual of the Night, and so I played Ritual of the Night, and you keep having all these characters show up, and it's like it's this person, and you're like, why am I supposed to know these people? And then I played Curse of the Moon. And it's like, oh, okay. You really are supposed to play Curse of the Moon first.
It's a prequel, right?
Yeah, it is. So you play as Zangetsu in that as the main character, and then you unlock Miriam, Gebel, what's his name?
Alfred.
Alfred. And I'm trying to think. I think there's a fourth. Oh no, that is
yeah. What's her name? Her woman.
The boss.
Dominique.
Yes, Dominique.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you can play as her. I did not.
Maybe that's just in 2.
Yeah, that might be in 2. I'm looking at the wiki. It says Miriam, Alfred, Gebel, and then you start as Zangetsu. Yeah, I played through 1. I beat it. It took me. It was hard. I played on a 3DS, and then I haven't bought 2 yet, but I plan to.
Me too. We're gonna cover both of those as minis on the show eventually. So
yeah, I liked 2 a lot more. I think just the characters that they had were a lot more like fun to play as. But yeah.
So it's a whole new set of characters.
Well, Zangetsu
and Miriam are still playable, but then you have Dominique and a little dog that is in a giant mech. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, my attention now.
Fantastic.
I love mechs.
Yeah, it's like a little corgi that's in a giant mech suit.
A corgi piloting a steampunk mech. That's what it's.
Okay.
Nice.
Then, yeah, we are definitely covering that as a mini at some point then.
His name is Hachi.
Hachi, yes.
Yeah, you play Zangetsu, Dominique, Robert, and Hachi.
Okay.
Oh, Robert. Yeah,
So,
he's the guy. He has a sniper rifle.
It looks interesting. I mean, this game, I do want to say, like, I know a lot of people core people compare it to Symphony of the Night, but I do feel like this is really the continuation of where he would have went had he been able to make another one on consoles. Like, it has that feeling of it where it tried to do what Symphony of the Night did, but turn it up, in a sense.
Yeah, absolutely.
It adds so much to it. I mean, the gameplay is very much like Dawn of Sorrow, Area of Sorrow, the whole idea.
It really is more like Dawn of Sorrow or Area of Sorrow because of the shard system.
But that continuation of just the fact that it's now on, a next gen system. I mean, I played this on PC, but it's on everything. But it was was very much a next gen game, and I mean the graphics are beautiful. I love the way this game looks. I love the style of all the different enemies. I think Miriam, the main character, just looks. I mean, she reminds me completely. I've never played it, but reminds completely of Shinoa from Order Ecclesia.
Yeah, I have to say that is the thing I don't like about it. Is I'm not a fan of like anime cheesecake stuff, and Miriam in her like little like French maid outfit that you can change the hat and the hair, but no matter what armor you put on, she's always in the little skimpy French maid outfit. I think that's a little dumb, honestly.
I liked it, but I can.
Look at the Shovel Knight armor, right? You can wear the Shovel Knight armor.
Oh, does that actually change it?
Yes.
Yeah.
She becomes a Shovel Knight, essentially.
Oh, right, because it's like the Axe Knight armor in Symphony of the Night.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that, though. I like the design, but I completely understand where you're coming from. I just completely makes sense. I did like it that every so often her armor would change. Like, there's certain dresses that you wear, and she's in a different outfit.
Slightly, yeah.
We'll change.
Yeah. I mean, I would have preferred if they had put in the time and effort to make the armor actually change her appearance more.
Or put on a non
non-slutty
version.
Again, I just think I think that, like I said, I'm not a big fan of the anime cheesecake thing. I think it's a little silly. But
yeah,
that's
yeah.
really my only complaint with the game, honestly, is that.
Yeah, her design doesn't really do anything for me. I like the tattoos thing that she has that's like stained glass, but like other than that, yeah, I mean,
it's cool.
Yeah,
I think the whole stained glass motif in this game is pretty neat.
Yeah, it definitely feels like a true continuation of what would come after Order of Ecclesia. You know, rather than a lot of people just call it a spiritual successor to Symphony of the Night, but it definitely is just a continuation of what Ego would do next, and it is what he did next, and yeah, it really is just the next Castlevania game.
It really is like, it's like if his company had decided to keep making video games, then this is what they would have eventually come out with, probably.
Yeah,
it would not have had some of the fun Easter egg stuff in it. Probably like there would not have been no Shovel Knight, no portraits of like Kickstarter backers and their cats on the walls. My son was watching me play, and he's like, "Who are those people in the portraits?" And I'm like, "Oh, there's a Kickstarter backers." And then we come up to one, and there's just a cat. And he's like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah,
the cat donated. I love that. I love the little Easter eggs in this game. I love all the throwbacks to Castlevania that you find, like Shovel Knight.
Shovel Knight as an enemy is great because Shovel Knight's one of my favorite games also, and
great game.
He's like, people kind of call him, like an indie game slut because he'll show up in every indie game.
Yeah, I think honestly I probably would have preferred him to be a boss rather than just like a regular enemy throughout the game. Like that could have been really fun, but I still like how he's a normal enemy and you get to see him a lot, and you like basically, like I said before, you get to wear his armor.
Yeah,
especially if you farm him.
Shard, you get the shovel as a weapon, and then there's a shard where do you throw the shovel? I think with one of the shards.
I can't remember. I didn't experiment with the shards. I mean, like, I love the fact that they're there. Like, you are right. There are so many abilities you can get in this game,
and you can upgrade them, and they change. Some of them change as you upgrade them.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's pretty balanced. It's not like there's one. Well, I think there's a
couple that are really good.
Yeah, there's a couple that are really over, but there's a couple. It's not just like there's one thing that's really overpowered, and you just kind of like filter into this one move set. Like you have a lot of choices in this game that are pretty well balanced, and it really can speak to your play type.
There are some things that are a little overpowered, though.
Well, yeah.
One of the things,
but they're also more near the end. Like I didn't get the really good shards until like the laser one that I used to beat the game.
Holy laser, that holy laser is powerful. The Riga Stormera you get pretty early.
But you have to upgrade it.
And I upgraded that thing to like super, and that thing just like walk into a room, wipe out every enemy on the screen. Just like when you're running through the castle and you don't want to have to bother with enemies, just run in Riga Stormera. And it even breaks the lanterns, and so you get your mana back as you run through the room.
Yeah. Honestly, it kind of feels like Dark Souls games.
Yes.
They took a lot from Dark Souls games, and they learned, I think, a lot, but not like took directly.
Yeah,
your moveset, it can directly, speak to your play style. If you don't want to play with swords, you don't have to. Like, your difficulty can pertain to what your play style would be. And I think that's great.
This playthrough, I used a club almost the entire game, which I don't normally do. I normally like to use swords. I think the first time I played, I used like a katana for most of my playthrough.
Mm-hmm.
And then this time I played with the staff. Well, there's two of them. So there's one that you get pretty early. You can get pretty early, but it's like not super common drop. And it's pretty powerful. And then later you get one that is like especially powerful underwater, but it's actually still powerful when you're out of the water too. And so I used that for most of the game.
That's what makes this game so cool. There's so much to it. I used a katana build the entire game because I got into katanas somewhat early, and I found out that I loved the way they felt and the power, and I never left that.
And then you get Zangetsu's katana late in the game. Well, kind of 3/4 of the way through the game, and it's pretty good too. So
I had it for a little bit, then I made something better. Yeah,
that's the other thing. So you get those coins, the 8-bit coins, and they let you build like kind of like unique named weapons.
Yeah, I only got the 8-bit one, and I didn't get anything too good.
Yeah, you only get one of those per playthrough. Is that for New Game Plus? Because I only got one also. You
I
can
think
buy more.
there's hidden. You only get one 8-bit coin in like very early area, but I think there's other ones later in the game you can get that are more hidden. But I'm not sure.
I didn't find any this time. I know that you can buy them from. I keep forgetting her name. Dominique. I keep wanting to call her Joanna for some reason. Yeah, Dominique. You can buy them from Dominique, but they're really expensive. It's like 100,000 or something like that.
Yeah, it's something ridiculous.
Yeah.
Which I never had that much at one time because I spend my money in this game like crazy.
Yeah. And
definitely.
The thing is the unique weapons aren't really that powerful. They're just interesting. Like they're like named weapons and they have like special weapon effects and they do special elemental or type damage and stuff. So like I made like a dark sword to beat Zangetsu with the first time just because he's weak to dark.
Okay. He's the second boss in this game, but he's really the point where I think a lot of people like, because back when this game first came out, I remember I was listening to Player One podcast and they were talking about how they were having a hard, I don't know if they ever finished it, but I remember them talking about it and they were having a hard time with the first Zangetsu fight. And I had heard about it over the years, like how hard that it's just, and it really is. It's the fight that can really break you if you're not, it's kind of like that checkpoint, like you need to know how to play this game or you're not going to, or in my case, farm food.
I would say Josh mentioned Dark Souls. Ornstein and Smo are that in Dark Souls. They're the what you call the skill check boss. Up until Ornstein and Smo, you can kind of brute force your way through Dark Souls. But when you get to Ornstein and Smo, you have to actually pay attention to how they play and actually, learn their moves. And it's gonna be hard if you're not already skilled at those kind of games. Or you can just summon Slayer and then it's easy. But
yeah, I absolutely agree. Like I streamed through Dark Souls actually this past year, and I pretty much did just brute force my way through, like using a giant claymore, a giant axe, just literally like forcing. And then I got up to Ornstein and Smaug and streamed for 5.5 hours just trying to beat them.
Yeah, and the thing was I play Dark Souls is my favorite series of games other than Zelda, and I played Dark Souls 1. I played Dark Souls 3 first. So after having beaten Dark Souls 3, including all the optional bosses and everything, coming back to Dark Souls, it was like, oh, this game is freaking easy. And then I get to Ornstein and Smo, and I was like, oh, okay, no, I get it. The game was easy until now. And then still, I was able to beat them, but it was definitely they're a skill check boss, and like in Elden Ring now, that's the very first boss.
I have a story for Ornstein Smog. I beat Ornstein Smog my first try, but in the asterisk is I did 2 summons on my first try. I got lucky. 2 random people were just there and I summoned them and we killed them. But yeah, I never fought them again. I never want to.
Oh, that's so lucky.
Nothing wrong with summoning. You should summon anytime you want to in Souls games, but it is kind of summoning is the difficulty slider in Souls.
Yeah, when I played recently, the servers have been offline, so I couldn't summon. Yeah,
the PC servers have been offline since December.
Yeah, and I played that Prepare to Die edition, so it was pretty glitchy too. So, yeah.
Yeah, I've been I'm like 300 hours into Elden Ring, and I'm like, I kind of want to go back and replay the Dark Souls series again, but I don't want to play them offline because I love the online interactions. So I might buy the series on PS5 because I don't think they're going to put the servers back up on PC personally.
Oh, even the remastered version isn't on?
Oh, it's all broke because
all the Dark Souls servers are down on PC.
There's an exploit discovered that would allow people to actually execute scripts on your computer, like actually take control of your computer. So they
okay. So then
all
they had
PC servers down for Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3.
Oh, that sucks. That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, you can't have
console servers have stayed up the whole time. But anyway, I'm sorry. But point is Zangetsu is a skill check, but if you use dark damage on him, he's dark damage and poison. And that's kind of the thing I was going to say is like if you get poison spray or poison cloud, like those shards, which you can get those pretty early, they are broken against any human boss in the game. Alfred, Zangetsu, Dominique, they have no immunity to poison. You can just sit there and poison them and then just run around while they die.
Yeah, I think if I remember correctly, that's like how I beat Alfred. I think Alfred really was my skill check. I had such a difficult time with Alfred, and also when the game came out, I played on Switch. So bad load times, bad frame rate.
They've patched it to where it's supposed to be pretty good now, but when
it initially came out, I think I beat it in that first week that it came out, and then I started to play through it again after the patch came out, and I was like, oh yeah, this is a billion times better, but it was pretty soon after, right? Yeah. and now I'm playing it on Steam Deck again, before this, and it is crisp. Like, yeah, it is great. Like 60 FPS, full PC graphics, which is, looks fantastic.
I want the Steam Deck.
I play it on my gaming PC, which is not top of the line. It's maybe it's about equivalent to a Steam Deck probably, but played it on that, and yeah, it plays like a dream.
Played it on my gaming laptop that I got a couple years ago, and this game was beautiful, and I had one crash where I had to uninstall it and reinstall it.
The art style of this game, the monsters, everything just really pops really nicely on the screen. The 2.5D is a good choice for it, I think.
Yeah, and I remember during the all the Kickstarter updates when the first trailer came out, there were a lot of complaints about the art style and about graphical fidelity. And then like about a year later, which was a huge part of one of the delays that it had, was they rehauled a lot of the graphical fidelity and art style, and they brought on 505 M2. I don't remember which developer WayForward? I think it was WayForward. But they completely redid like the entire lighting system in the game.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, which caused all of those issues on Switch. But I think in the end, the lighting system is a complete, huge difference on what really made this game art style stand out.
I can see that. I mean, but I wanted to go back to what you said. You brought up Alfred. Alfred is the guy you see throughout the game that kind of talks to you. He's one of the characters, and then because you don't really understand what's going on, you were just sent to this castle to stop Gebel, who has shards just like you do, and there's some backstory about how people tried to make monsters and blah blah blah. And Alfred, when you fight Alfred, you fight him like a circular room that really takes advantage of that 2.5D that we were talking about, and that fight is fucking hard though. Like I felt I was overpowered for the most part. He does so many status effects to you. He slows you down. He just keeps doing. I mean, and he has a lot of health. It took that. I mean, I beat him my first try because every boss in this fight in this game I came in with so much food, so I couldn't die.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, it depends. Again, poison on him.
I didn't
poison him, and then just basically just stay away from him while he's dying from poison, and then whenever he goes to cast a spell, jump behind him and beat on him for a little bit, then run away again. Really, the thing he was catching me with was the slowdown, the time slow thing. And then now you don't have invert when you fight him, though, do you?
No, you don't get invert till later.
I'll say once you get invert, that's ridiculous.
Okay,
invert
so does that room even have a ceiling against?
It doesn't, but you can invert in places without a ceiling, and it'll throw you up and then throw you back down.
Oh,
and it's just really good for avoiding attacks from people. I used invert. I abused the last Zangetsu fight with invert, and then the fight on the train, the second fight on the train, that Demon 66 or whatever it is.
Yeah, the folklore thing.
Yeah, and then the Trevor Belmont fight, the zombie Trevor Belmont fight with invert is also ridiculous. Gebel, anything like that where you can stand on the ceiling, but then Dominique doesn't fall for that at all. She's really good at hitting you on the ceiling.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's useless against Dominique, but then it's also very useful against the final boss.
You get a lot of good abilities in this game too. Just like a Metroidvania or Castlevania, however you want to put it. You get double jump as the game progresses. You get the invert. You get the weird laser ability.
The laser teleport thing, directional ray, I think is what it's called.
Yes.
Oh, that's one of my favorite abilities.
Yeah, I love that thing.
Any of the Metroidvania games like that. It's so much fun to use. Yeah, it's a nice little laser teleport ability.
I like great. The little mirror platforming puzzles with it. You have to do in some places to get certain secrets and stuff. Yeah, I like that one. I like that one a lot. And then invert is just a lot of fun.
Is there the ability to? I saw it. I think in a speedrun or Easter egg or something. Not a speedrun, but an Easter egg. You can just keep shooting yourself up. Is there like you do in Symphony of the Night where you can just shoot all the way to the ceiling? Is that in this game?
Yes.
I did not get it.
Where you can the space jump from Symphony of the Night.
Yes. Because I was watching a video Easter eggs, and they were doing it to the librarian, to the fake Alucard. They would just keep hitting him and bouncing him, and they were doing that. And I'm but I never found it when I was playing. So I was just curious.
Yeah, I think so. It's a shard, right?
I'm assuming, yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay, I think it's in this game somewhere, but I never found it. I just I didn't farm, like I would farm enemies, but I didn't really farm for shards that much. I mainly just like to kill things for experience and crops.
I looked it up. It's called high jump, and you craft it. It's a crafted shard that doesn't drop. You craft it by, you have to have, you basically take the double jump and a bovine plume, and it replaces double jump. And then it's exactly the space jump from Symphony of the Night, where you can just jump infinitely by performing it's like,
that would have been nice.
Yeah, I did not get that though.
That would have been really nice, because there were times, like especially late in this game, when you go to the final areas, I had to do a lot of inverting to get to places I wanted to get to.
Yeah.
Oh, one thing that made me really love this game, that is partly because I'm a cheap bastard, is I love the fact that you can craft food, and food heals you, and there's no limit. Like the game only lets you carry 5 high potions or something, which is not enough.
Yeah. 9 regular potions, 5 high potions.
I mean, that's normal. Like Castlevania, the other one, they do that too. But in this game, the fact that I can go and craft food, and I can farm enemies to get certain items, or I can get money to then buy said items and craft. Like I craft pizzas all the time because they have a good healing. That's how I got past this game, because I didn't dodge enemies or bosses that much. I would mainly I'd tank a lot of their hits. I would try jump behind them, but the fact that I could hold on to like 50 pizzas if I wanted to, which I did later on, I could just like, fuck you, I'll just tank your hits. I don't care. You'll die eventually before I do.
Same here. I mean, like, I think I tanked almost everything, and I actually really ended up really liking the food crafting system. I guess not even food crafting; it's cooking system or whatever. But in the beginning of the game, I remember being really off-put by it. I was like, I don't really know about this. This seems like a lot that I probably won't do. Like, I'll probably just treat this like any other Castlevania game. And then come the end of the game, I'm like constantly going back to Dominique, crafting food, and like, making all these different things, and ending up grinding and going back to the farm to get different ingredients and things like that. Like, I ended up really liking the food system.
Well, plus,
I use the food a lot. Yeah.
When you make new foods, you get stat upgrades too, so it pays off for you to be experimental. And that also helped me want to farm enemies, which in turn levels me up, which in turn makes the game easier. So it hit all the right endorphins in my brain to make me go, oh, this does this. Oh, this does this. Like that was something that I don't always have. Like, I mean, when I play Symphony Night or a lot of those type of games, I was like, okay, I want to beat all the bosses. That's my goal. But in this game, I wanted to beat all the bosses, which I almost did. But I also wanted to, like, if I felt I had, I could just go and do different things that would then level me up also while I'm trying to get crafting materials. And I love that aspect of fighting an enemy more than one. She's like, oh, he dropped a soy sauce, like getting excited that I needed this to make something with an urchin. Like, just stuff that was a nice tick in my brain for me in this game.
Yeah, I I was gonna say, by the way, I just looked it up. I did get the high jump after all. I was just looking. I did, and the accelerator. Once you get the accelerator shard, you just fly across the level. It's a lot of fun. But with this game, I've so it's like with Symphony of the Night, I've done like the 185% or 189% whatever thing, and with Aria of Sorrow, I did like a full 100%, got every single shard, and same thing with Dawn of Sorrow. With this game or Soul, with this game, I feel like I've gotten 100% map completion, but getting all of the shards and all of the equipment. You'd have to play through this. You have to play hundreds of hours.
125 hours it took the completionist to do it.
Wow.
That is. I mean, and the thing is, I say that's insane. Right now, I think my Elden Ring account is at like 250. So
that's a different game.
But that's a whole other. I saw the game.
Yeah, like totally different. Just sizes.
But also it depends on you're doing it by choice. Like you're just. Yeah. You're still exploring Elden Ring, so that's a little different. Where, like in this game, I mean, the castle the castle's big. It's not gigantic. I mean, it's big enough.
100% the castle in 10 hours. So in this game, there's 7. But
I was
getting all the shards. Like some of those drop rates are super low. Plus, a lot of them you have to craft, so you have to get multiple copies of the shards as crafting materials, and
Yeah, I would never go for that. I mean, I'm happy that it's there, like for people who just want it. Like, I mean. But you don't have to. I mean, there are some people who would go and get all that. And some people just be like me, where I'm like, I got what I got throughout the game. Like I went for all the chests, I farmed enemies mainly for experience. But
like I said, I did it with Aria and Dawn. But with Aria and Dawn, it's doable in 15 or 20 hours. It's a thing.
Yeah,
like
this game is just
so much.
it's enormous. Like there's
It
so
is.
much in this game, like we were saying before, it's incredibly dense. And I think that kind of is both a plus and a minus to it because sometimes it has a lot in this game.
A lot of chat.
And yes, and it's good in that like you have a choice, right? Not all of it is mandatory. If you want to like 100%, there's no big reward for you to totally 100% this game. You can if you want to, but you really can just 100% your play style,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you
So
don't
we-
need to get. I mean, if you spend the time to get all the crafting of all the foods, I mean, you're going to be way more powerful than somebody who didn't. But you don't have to.
Yeah, I'll
Right.
say I didn't do like I cooked food, but I would usually go into a boss fight with like 5 or 6 food. I wasn't going in with like 20 or 30.
You weren't playing like I was, huh?
Yeah, I think Mike and I said what we did is what did you do for your playthrough, Josh, this time?
Oh yeah, so I started out I think with a sword because that's just kind of what you had, and then
Yeah.
I went to a mace. I was using a mace most of the time, if I'm remembering correctly. And then I went to an axe because I was like, you know what, I kind of want to go my old Castlevania style or whatever the big weapons were.
Great
Yeah.
sword.
Great sword.
Yes,
axe
the great
too.
swords. Yeah, an axe.
Yeah.
And then by the end of the game, I went back to just using a regular sword because I'm like, it's just so much more effective, so much more quick. And I think also by the
Yes.
time I was just like, I kind of just want to beat the game at this point. I don't want to like struggle with any other kinds of weapon. And then while playing, I was like, maybe in my next playthrough, I'll use the guns.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. Is the next playthrough I want to use guns or feet.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. There's like all the kicking stuff.
Yeah, instead
Kung
of
Fu
the
shoes.
instead of the fist weapons from Castlevania from Symphony of the Night, it's foot weapons.
Yeah.
I like that though.
Yeah,
I like
you got like the steam powered shoes.
I didn't use them, but in the speed run, they use the shoes constantly. And that's how they get by really
'Cause
fast.
it's the fastest. It's the fastest attack in the game, I think. Other than they have a version of Chrysogrim in this that I used for a little while, but it's not as powerful.
Oh man, the cursing gem breaks Symphony of the Night in a way that
Yeah, in this
couldn't
one, it's
believe.
like I used it actually. I would say I actually used that for the first like maybe 3 hours because I got it really early, and it's very weak. It does like very little damage, so it's not, but it attacks super fast like Chrysogrim does, and so you upgrade not upgrade it, but that it can be. But anyway, you eventually get to a point where it's just like I would be doing more damage with one swing of a greatsword at this point. So
Yeah.
but yeah, what about shards? What were y'all's big shards?
Oh man, I'd have to go back and check my original playthrough, but I remember using that, that beam that you guys
Yeah.
mentioned before, that dark beam. That was pretty OP.
Oh, I was
Yeah, it
using the
is.
holy beam. Yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, I was
Yeah,
using
'cause
the dark beam.
I used it on just because Dominique is weak to holy and the final boss is weak to holy, so I was using it on them at the end.
I mean, I didn't really use shards. Like, I didn't use spells because it's me. Mostly for this game, till near the end when I kind of had to, I mostly just took everyone out with my katana. I had a couple things that I couldn't find shards that I like. Like, I would use them here and there, but I'm like, this just doesn't do enough damage for me. Like, I would use a fireball thing sometimes. I used the aqua splash for a long time.
Oh yeah,
I mainly just changed stuff up for what was needed during the time. Like one I did get, like a yellow one, which enhances like a passive effect, was I found one that increases my attack speed.
oh
I
yeah.
use that
That's a good one.
constantly because I also, with me using katana's a pretty fast weapon, but when you add the attack speed upgrades, and I found other ways to, and I had an equipment I found that upgraded my attack speed also.
Yeah,
She could hit real fast with that katana.
yeah. That's a good combination.
I mean,
I was using there's the dun hammer or whatever the head is. There's one where you like swing it. It's
Yeah.
a shard. I was using that for a long time, and until I replaced it with Riga Stormera, which is the fire, just sweep the screen of fire one. But yeah, once you get that, just sweep the screen with fire. Just run to the room, wipe out anything with basically anything with that, and then anything that's left hit with your weapon. It becomes kind of like I said, it becomes a little trivialized, but
But I mean,
And
that's
then-
what I loved. I love the fact that there's so much choice in this game.
there's a lot. There's
I
a
mean,
lot
your
of choice.
equipment, you can craft equipment, you get so much equipment, you have breakable walls in this game that have a lot of really awesome hidden accessories that I found throughout the game.
Oh, the arrow. That's what it was. The one where you shoot arrows with the R button.
I got it, but I never
yeah.
used it.
I upgraded that one fully to where it's firing multiple arrows. and each one does a ton of damage. And that was good for just like melting a boss. It's just empty my mana bar with that, and it's just like in the space of like 3 seconds, I'm basically, it's like I'm hitting them 30, 40 times with my
Yeah, I think I used that one too. Because it's
Yeah.
like if you hit them with all your arrows, and if they're a big boss and you're just standing in front of them. Yeah,
like those dragons, the two-headed dragon just.
Oh god, that fight.
Yeah.
It's funny. I glitched out of that fight so many times. I think it was
Get
an
stuck
issue on
behind
like
them?
you got stuck behind them or under them.
Yeah, that happened to me once, and it just like made me take like infinite damage, and I died instantly.
Yeah.
That's a great
I
fight,
was
though.
like, what the hell?
I mean, you
Yeah,
fight
that is a cool fight.
a Hydra, like a twin-headed dragon, I guess, on a freaking tower, and he's climbing down the tower trying to kill you as you're like. I love that fight so much.
And it's that like again that 2.5D and the like kind of parallax effect where it's like the level is moving, the background's moving it's very, very.
When I played this game for the first time, I didn't know that fight was coming. I remember I got to, and I was like, my god, this is awesome. And I remember texting my buddy Mike at the time, being like, he's like, just keep playing. And I just love that fight. I still do.
Yeah, I remember seeing that in the trailer and stuff. I wish I hadn't been spoiled for that fight because that would have been a great surprise. But I remember seeing that in a lot of like pre-coverage of the game coming out of people being like, oh yeah, that twin dragon fight is really great, and it was always like the stinger at the end of the trailer.
Oh
yeah. Oh, and I was saying earlier, like I didn't know you could upgrade abilities. At least I didn't try until mid to late in the game when I finally started upgrading things. A lot.
Yeah, that can become really useful. Like the double jump. You eventually upgrade it to the point where you're invulnerable whenever you make your second jump. Oh,
that's right.
And then you basically have like a free like air dodge essentially, and that can become pretty useful for avoiding like the attacks some bosses do where they just like fill the screen with damage. You can double jump through that, and it's pretty cool.
There's just so many mechanics in this game, right?
You don't use Bloodsteel very much?
No.
What was that?
Bloodsteel.
Oh, I think I did. Was that Stealing Life?
Yeah,
life steal?
Sort of.
It soaks up blood stains from the floor. So if you're using a bladed weapon, so if you're using like a mace, it doesn't work. You can't do anything with it. But if you're using a sword or something, they'll be splashing blood on the ground, and then you can soak up that blood for healing. And it doesn't heal for a lot, but it's pretty useful because it costs very little mana. And if you're using a sword, then you can just attack, bloodsteel, attack, bloodsteel, and it'll be healing. Like at the I think I had it upgraded. It was healing me for like maybe like 150 or 200.
No, that's not bad at all.
So it's not bad at all. I was using it against Dominique, and that way I could save all my potions and food for the final boss.
I didn't level it up enough. I used it a couple times when I first got it because you get it from a boss fight, which you also needed to progress to the game. Bloodless is cool. She's like a vampire that's sitting in a bathtub of blood and then has an umbrella.
And then wears the blood as an outfit.
She's also one of the playable characters, right?
Yes.
She was added as DLC later.
Yeah, that was pretty recent. It was like last year.
Yes.
Yeah. Do you have to beat the game to unlock her? Because
you have to
anymore.
sold Bloodless. I don't know if you have to beat the game first, but you have to put in your name as a special code.
Oh, that's what it is. Because when you go to new game, it gives you the option to play as Miriam, Zangetsu, or Aurora.
Now, yes.
And I've almost beaten the game with Aurora. I would have beaten it, but I quit playing to switch to play something else. We can talk about that. Did y'all play any of these other characters?
Yeah. So preparing for this, I was playing as Zangetsu because I had only beaten it that original playthrough, and then I started a new game plus. But yeah, so before this, I started playing as Zangetsu, and it's a great power trip.
It's fun. He is so powerful.
Does he level up too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's one thing that broke me in Symphony of the Night. Richter doesn't level up or doesn't have that, and I can't. That's why I love those games.
Richter and Maria. Have you played Maria in Symphony of the Night?
No.
She was playable on the Sega Saturn version, and then in the PSP version. I don't know if she's playable in Requiem or not, but
she's not.
She is balls hard. Okay. Richter is not bad because Richter's got all those cool moves.
You can pull them off.
But so he's not bad. It's just like playing a regular. I mean, it's. I don't even know because I mean he can basically space jump with his Shoryuken that he does.
Oh, that's right.
But Maria, her attack is that she like throws some birds at you. And it's kind of like playing Alucard in Castlevania 3, where Alucard's like by far the weakest character, but he has like some cool utility. That's what Maria's like. But anyway, yeah, Zangetsu is a big power trip. Aurora is ridiculous. She is broken easy.
Oh, really?
Like I was most boss fights, I was killing them in less than 5 seconds.
Oh my god! And this is Aurora from Child of Light.
Yes. So what you do with her is you don't collect equipment, but you do collect shards. But the shards are characters from Child of Light, and in this game, the banshees that curse you, that scream at you and curse you. So they will drop a shard for a character from Child of Light, and whenever you use it, it's a spell. It throws one of those banshees out, and they scream. It hits everything on the screen, and it does a massive amount of damage. And it will even break the lanterns, and so you'll get your mana back too. And I would just go into a boss fight and just go R, dead. Like
that's basically like a crash.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
That's basically it. Yeah. It's like an item crash, and it doesn't even use that much mana. I mean, it uses a good deal, but I would go into a boss fight and just hit R like 5 times, and they would die every single boss. So it's broken if you want it to be.
That's cool though. Is it a Metroidvania also, Child of Light?
I think it is, yeah.
Yes
right?
and no. I mean, it's a side-scrolling RPG.
Oh, turn-based.
So, yes, turn-based.
Oh.
But it is kind of like a Metroidvania. It's really unique. It's really cool. It's like instead of... do you ever play Indivisible? It's kind of like that, where you run into an enemy and then you go into a turn-based fight.
Isn't that how a Valkyrie profile is?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't played
it in years. I can't.
Because I feel like isn't Indivisible like a spiritual successor to Valkyrie Profile?
Oh, actually, I don't know.
I'm not sure. I just know I've been meaning to buy Indivisible multiple times, and I missed a really good deal once because I was too slow. So that's all I know about it. I just buy everything on Steam.
I might be thinking of. No, I think that's
Indivisible. I think is turn style of some sort. I just don't know much about it.
Yeah,
I remember when Indivisible was coming out. That was one of those other Kickstarter vaporware games that took forever to come out, and then it was just kind of mediocre. But the art style was fantastic. Child of Light is definitely it's a turn-based game.
Okay.
With side-scrolling world.
It's cool that they added, because she just got added this year in 2022, so just recently. Like, I'm glad to see they're still supporting this game. Like, I think it's really cool to me that now this game has 4 playable characters.
And they also did a crossover thing with Blasphemous also.
Oh, that's right.
What they do with Blasphemous? You
can get Miriam as a summon, I think.
Oh, okay. I just bought Blasphemous on sale this week. I haven't played it. Well, I won't play it free.
It's free. It's free too. The crossover. You get like some items. I think you get some items and spells based on Bloodstained, and then I think it's players will find Bloodstained's protagonist Miriam within the game's world, replete with voiceover, a new cinematic, mysterious shattered stained glass window.
That's cool.
Yeah. So they added. Yeah, they just randomly added some Bloodstained stuff into Blasphemous, and they had like an event on Steam. It's called. They have like a trailer. It's like Strife and Ruin is what the update was called.
That's cool.
And yeah, I've played Blasphemous. I haven't gotten to that part yet, but it's like you find like the teleport windows from
Bloodstained.
Bloodstained, yeah, and then I think you get like a weapon and like an attack where you like do like the stained glass like shard thing.
Oh, okay.
I think you can summon. You get like a summonable Miriam like companion or something like that.
That's cool. I mean, this game had companions too. For familiars, I only use a little knight guy that I got, and I kept him the entire game.
Yeah, I
used the knight. Both times I've beaten this game, I used the knight the whole time. I love him.
He's cool. I upgraded him all the way, and he started like shooting arrows and spells around the level.
Start shooting. Like I would run into a room, and he would like start like casting holy magic on things across the room.
Yeah, it's kind of like the giant sword in Symphony of the Night. It's like you're not going to use any other familiar here. Just
has anyone ever used a familiar other than the sword in Symphony of the Night?
Yeah, right.
I think I have, because I didn't get other people.
You got to pull out the imp, press a switch twice.
Oh, you have to open those doors.
I use the imp in Symphony of the Night because I've never gotten the sword. I've only used the imp in that game.
Oh, so the thing that I was like, I like to use the sword, and then you eventually upgrade it to the point, you level up to the point that you get the sword as an item. But by the time you get the sword as the item, it's not as good as what you're probably using already. So it's like you're like working to get this sword leveled up to the point that you get it as an actual equipment, And then, and then by that point, you've probably got Chrysogrim. And if you're not using Chrysogrim, it's because you're choosing to make the game harder on yourself, like as a challenge.
God, when I played through Symphony Night last time for this show, episode 101, I got the Chrysogrim for the first time ever, and it made the game just simple. I couldn't, everything but Galamorath was just simple.
Oh,
So
Galamorath is the worst.
I did a Symphony of the Night randomizer run on my Twitch channel a while back, and I literally got Chrysogrim within the first like 30 seconds of once you control Alucard. Like it was where the Cube of Zoe is, the one that lets you break items. Yeah. Instead of the Cube of Zoe, I got the Chrysogrim, and then I did not get the Cube of Zoe until almost the very end of the game. So I couldn't open the clock tower because you need the stopwatch, and you can only get the stopwatch by breaking candles. And I couldn't get items from candles until I was near the end of the run. I was about to give up.
That's
wild.
Randomizer really runs are a lot of fun, and that was one of the things they added to this. There's a randomizer built into Bloodstained now.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
I remember that was one of the stretch goals. Yeah, there's the boss rush mode.
Boss rush, speed run, randomizer, and then 4 playable. That's just so much for this game, and they didn't have to do any of that. They could have just put out the regular game, and people would have still been satisfied, I think.
Yeah,
all this and 2 prequels.
Yeah, this was absolutely a passion project for IGA, and I think everyone, it's really, really clear that it was, because, with all the delays and stuff, I think this really was for IGA, like, kind of cathartic for him, especially with all the history with
Konami over his head, and it's beautiful, and it's funny because, like, if this had been put out by Blizzard, by Activision, by Square, by any other company, if they added those things, they would be DLC you had to pay for. It would be $10 Aurora DLC.
Well, I think these were all stretch goals.
Yeah, so some of it was stretch goals, but like Aurora, I think was just they just added that this year because they're like, sure, why not?
Yeah, there were a ton of things. I remember past, when everything was done after the stretch goals, and just being surprised every time they were like, oh, we're gonna do this now, and we think it's really cool. Like randomizer, I know was not a stretch goal.
Yeah.
And that was a huge surprise to everybody. Also, the classic mode that they added. I don't know if you guys ever played classic mode.
What is classic?
It's on the main menu. If you choose classic mode, it's just Classicvania. So there's a completely separate game in Bloodstained that's all just classic Castlevania levels, but you play as Miriam.
But is it like 8-bit style?
No, it's like Bloodstained. Like you play as Miriam, so it's normal, but the level design is.
So it's kind of like Rondo of Blood in that sense.
Yeah.
You have my attention. I might have to look this up.
Yeah, I want to check that out. I didn't even know that existed.
Yeah, it's really
the same map and everything?
No, it's not a map. So it's the level design is like classic Castlevania. But the play style is still like.
Oh, so it's the play style is still Blood. So you still have the shards and all that kind of stuff.
No. It's. I just found it on YouTube.
Yeah.
I'll send you the link, and you can.
I'm gonna have to. Man, this game just keeps on giving.
Yeah, there's so much that they added into this game outside of the main game.
This is why I bought Blasphemous too. Like we were just saying, whenever they did the crossover with Blasphemous, I was like, oh shoot, I'll buy it. And I actually rebought this game because I say rebought. I played this originally when it was on Game Pass.
Okay.
It was on Game Pass in 2020, I think. No, it was before that. It was. I think it was 2019. It was on Game Pass because
when it came out.
Because I got pretty shortly after. Because I'm trying to think. I got Game Pass for PC when it first was in beta, when it was $1 a month, which was summer of 2019. Because I remember I was doing the AP U.S. history grading in Louisville, Kentucky, and which was the last year that I did it in person because it was before the pandemic. And I was like, during a break, I got an alert on my phone saying Game Pass for PC is available now in beta. I was like, all right. I downloaded it remotely from my phone. I was like, all right, let's do this. And then came back, and then Bloodstained was, I want to say it's the first game that I played on it. So
Nice.
Yeah, I did. I think the same thing too. It wasn't one of the first. I think the first game I did was like Dead Souls or something like that. Dead Cells.
Dead Cells, yeah, that was one of the first ones I played too. Yeah.
Yeah, and I didn't play it on PC, like through Game Pass for PC, till like maybe a year after it came out. It was right before it went off.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, But
see, I rebought it I bought it on Steam as soon as it went off Xbox Game Pass because I was like, I know I'm going to want to play this again. I know that I'm going to want to play this again someday because this game is so good.
Oh, and to speak what he was talking about, that Bloodstained Classic mode, it literally looks like a classic Castlevania with Miriam, with a whip. And
yeah, she's got the walk cycle and everything. Yeah.
Yeah, it's literally a classic, like original Castlevania type game.
With like a secondary weapon and things like that.
Yeah, and they made a few levels for it. It takes about 40 minutes to clear for this guy.
Oh, I'm going to have to check that out.
I mean, it's literally...
speaking of whips, did y'all play with whips at all?
No.
They're difficult. But I think that would be a fun challenge is to play all whips.
Oh, and the thing about this game that it did to me this is one of the few games that grabbed me in a way I could not stop playing. Like I literally couldn't sleep one day because I'm like, I need to go downstairs and go play more Bloodstained and get farther. I'm like, man, go to sleep. I'm like,
I think Iga is just almost all of Iga's games get me like that. Like he really knows like great pacing that makes you want to keep playing and power trips that feel like you're still powerful, but there's more power right out of reach. You know, if you keep playing, you can keep going, and then you discover a whole new area, and it's like, I want to...
That kept happening. I would be like, all right, well, I'm just going to get to the next save room, and then the next thing I know, I've been playing for like 4 hours.
Right.
Well, one thing
like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Like with this game, well, any Metroidvania game that I play, and I did it for this one too, is I always... Before I play the game, I always go and I download a map from the internet and I print it out and laminate it at FedEx. So every time I go into it, I didn't use it for a good chunk of this game, but I like to have it to go, oh, there's a save point coming up. So I know I can go like, oh, this is where the boss room is. Okay, so I kind of have an idea what I'm exploring for.
I will go and look at a map when I get to like 98% map completion. And I'm like, all right, I cannot figure out what last 2% I'm missing.
I'm gonna
definitely.
I definitely do that with any Metroidvania. I try to avoid doing that until I get to that point or until I get stuck.
In
this game, I never got stuck in this game, but I did get to, on my first run when I was trying to 100% it, I did get to like 98.5% map completion. I'm like, what on earth could be left? And then I think I think that 8-bit actually might be part of it. That and the millionaire room. I always forget to go do the millionaire room.
And that's another thing. We should talk about that. Like this game had a bunch of different like hidden bosses. When I came into this, I wanted to beat them all before I beat the final boss, but then I went and got 50 pizzas for Dominique. I beat Dominique and Bale, and then I went and reloaded my save with my 50 pizzas still intact and went and took out all the secret bosses. But you have a carpenter for some reason. I don't understand the point of that guy, but you fight a carpenter, you fight a mimic, millionaire.
That carpenter was where I first had to start using the poison cheese. Because he's hard. He is rough. He is very hard. But then I think you do have invert by the time you fight him, right?
I'm pretty sure, yes.
Yeah, and that was where I poison him, stand on the ceiling, and then swing a great sword at him from the ceiling, and just chip away at him. And it took like a while, but I was able to do it. That was the only way I was able to beat him.
And then there's the fake Simon Belmont zombie version. I think. Right. Who else is there? There's the guy in the train. I don't really consider that a boss, but there's a guy in the train. Easter egg fight. Yeah,
Demon 66. He's another one where invert is the way to go because he does like a curse.
Well, actually, you can just if you run from him, you can jump over a box and just hit him from a box.
Oh, really?
That's what the videos show me they do. They run from him. There's a spot you can jump on, just hit him with your sword, and he can't touch you.
Yeah, what I did was I invert to get away from him, and then holy water to clear the curses on me. And then just shoot him with ranged until he dies. Because he was rough, and you can't poison him either, so you can't cheese him with that.
And I think
there's Alucard.
Yes, which I did not do.
Orlok Dracula, Orlok Dracul, which I feel like I fought the first time I played this game, but I had to look up how to do it, and I forgot he was even in it, and you reminded me of him. I did not fight him this time.
I wanted to, but I had 98.5% of the map or so, and I'm just like, I need to stop playing this and start playing Sunshine for the show.
That's what happened with me too.
Like I needed to stop. I had to move on, and I just didn't. I'm also not I normally don't like to go in any Metroidvania and try to get every single square, and it's like, so I was just kind of done. Plus, I would have just cheesed him anyway because that's where I was at with the way my gameplay was. I'm like, I'm just gonna be done.
The reward for beating him is ridiculous, though.
Yes, you get because you can check out books that give you passive upgrades But if you beat him, you get to check out all 20 of his books at once. So
21.
You get huge amount of passive upgrade. But at that point, I'm like, I already beat the game.
Yeah.
I don't need this, so I don't care.
And that is that is one of the things about this is like, and I think you find this of a lot of these kind of games is by the time you get the like really just earth-shattering amazing thing, it's like, all right, well, what am I even going to use this on?
Yeah, it's just to run through the game and be that powerful for some reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you get to also he drops the standstill shard that freezes time.
It's a cool Easter egg because you have to get 99%. Go talk to him, check out a particular book, and then go to the final dungeon area and go into a certain room, and he'll be sitting there waiting for you.
It feels very From Software.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I realized I missed a few secret bosses the first time.
They're hidden well.
Yeah, they are hidden very well. But like you were saying, like you didn't want to check through every box. And I feel like that's a big thing that I usually do go into Metroidvanias. I'm just like, I'm so ready to find every single room on this map and 100% it. You know, I feel like that's kind of like almost one of the core gameplay parts for me is just clearing the entire map.
I try. I mean, I've done it before, but with the podcast, I don't anymore.
Yeah.
It's also part of the bane of what I do because every game every week I play a game, so I sometimes it will take some of the fun away from me, but not often. I also just I get bored of a game. Like once I always get to a point in every game where I'm just like I just want to beat it. Even before the podcast, I just get to that point where I'm like, okay, I did enough. I need to be done.
Yeah, like I said, the first time I beat this game, I got to that point and then I looked up what I was missing and went and did everything I was missing. This time I didn't, and so I didn't fight Alucard. I didn't do the millionaire's room or whatever.
Yeah.
I did do the millionaire's room with Aurora though, and again, just like scream over and over again.
I kind of want to. I didn't like normally when I beat a game for this show or any game, I uninstall it immediately. I didn't uninstall this game yet because I want to go back to it still.
Yeah, I recommend playing as Aurora because she can fly.
Okay.
you get wings pretty early, and then you just fly everywhere, up, down, sideways.
That's pretty.
And it's like double your normal speed also, and it's just so you can quickly traverse the whole map. Like it's like having that accelerator shard, but you get it like half an hour into the game.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah. She also ages.
Oh, that's right. That's like a part of Child of Light.
Is it?
Yeah, I think that's a mechanic.
I'm going to buy Child of Light and try it out.
Same. I'm waiting. It's not on sale right now, but I just want to put it on my wish list.
I put it on my Steam wish list. I'm the same. Like I have Indivisible and haven't played it yet. And so I'm kind of like, well, I should probably play Indivisible first since I bought it already.
Yeah. You know, something interesting I actually just saw about that classic mode that we were talking about before.
Yes.
Completely developed by WayForward.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, because I was watching that video that you shared of the playthrough, and in the credits, I was just like, creative director Matt Bozon, executive producer Chris Watson. I was like, what? And then at the top, it just says developed by WayForward.
Man, so, WayForward is such an awesome company.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what's so great about Bloodstained, how much stuff has been added to this game just because.
Yeah. It really is.
It's such a passion project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm glad it made money too. It makes me, because then you get more of those.
Yeah.
Is Iga working on anything else right now? Do we know?
Nothing confirmed, but everyone pretty much just expects a sequel. I think he had hinted at a sequel some time ago in an interview, but for Curse of the Moon 2, when they were doing press for Curse of the Moon 2.
Okay.
Yeah, I would love it if they did a sequel to this, or just something else, but in like another Igavania, but it could be its own thing.
I think they could really expand on this a little bit more and really refine Ritual of the Night. If they did a sequel, I would love a true sequel to this.
Yeah, I mean, you could base it on the bad ending. You could have it where you got the bad ending and
we should talk about that
and everything. Yeah.
So this game does
all the different endings.
This game does that fuck you moment, just like Symphony Night does, where if you don't, so you fight Gebel your whole game. If you're trying to get Gebel, it's much like Richter and Symphony Night type thing, where you fight him, but if you just kill him, you get the bad ending where it's just like, well, the castle didn't go away or something. I forget what they say.
And what is your guy that's helping you? The alchemist who's helping you the whole game?
I don't remember his name.
Roger.
Maybe I
No,
don't know. I
that's
talk to him
not right.
constantly whenever.
Yeah, but anyway, he's like, you're like, the castle's not gone, and he's like, oh, don't worry, I'm sure Dominique will take care of it. And if you keep the game, Dominique is actually the bad guy,
Yes.
and you're like, oh, all right then. But at that point, you don't even know Dominique is. She hasn't turned. Well, it depends because you can fight Gebel really early.
She doesn't turn until you don't realize it till way later.
Oh, Johanna.
Then a behemoth.
Oh, that's why I kept
Johannes.
thinking Johanna. It's because Johannes is your friend. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you don't figure it out till because the way the game works is you can go fight him and get the bad ending. Then you have to realize. So I was like, okay, this is like Symphony Night. I have to go and find because I got this in my old playthrough, but I didn't look up stuff, so I didn't know what to do, and then I just stopped playing for some reason. Work, but. You have to progress through the game, fight Zanget. You have to go through a whole bunch of areas. Fight Zangetsu a second time, and then you take his sword. And when you go into the fight, and as you're fighting, you'll see this moon change colors near the very end of the fight. It turns red, and you have to jump up and hit the moon, and that's actually the demon controlling him.
And this is where you have to be careful with if you're using poison. You got to jump up there fast and cut that moon because he doesn't have a whole lot of life left when the moon turns red.
And then after you hit the moon, there's a little cutscene talking about how she's hiding, and you have to go back to the castle and find a certain room where you would see a red moon every time you walked by, which you would have paid no attention to if you didn't know, and then hit the red moon, and then you unlock the final area called Den of Behemoths, where you're little and everything is gigantic.
Yeah,
like Mario 3, and then you end up getting the Glacial Tomb, which is the final area where you fight Dominique and Bale and the demon that was Shaft, as I called it in our group chat.
Yeah, I mean that's very. I feel like that's in all the other Igavania
it's
games.
in Aria and Dawn. Yeah, I like it especially in Aria. I think it's either Aria or Dawn, where if you kill the guy, you basically it's like Vampire Hunter who's been helping you.
Yes, it's Aria. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Aria, and if you kill him, then the game it shows you as like basically Dracula, and you're like sitting on your throne, and Vampire Hunter comes in, and you like throw the wine glass of blood on the ground and shatter, and then it fades to black.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Spoilers for Aria of Sorrow.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah,
okay.
like there's a great moment in that game where you're like you're crossing paths. So you're playing as a person being possessed by Dracula trying to get resurrected. Like that's what the game is. You find that out pretty late into the game, and you cross paths with a modern day Belmont, and he has amnesia. But he gets his memories back by the end of the game, and then at the end of the game, when you both know who you are and what is happening, you're friends at that point. So Soma is like, hey, Julius, if I do get possessed by Dracula and like I become Chaos, you have to be the person to kill me. So in that bad ending, if you lose with the bad ending and you become Dracula, Julius shows up at your throne like ready to fight you. They don't have the fight, you don't see the fight, but it's.
But you got that classic thing from Symphony of the Night where Dracula throws the wine glass of blood on the ground, it shatters. It's very cool little homage to Symphony of the Night in that game.
I think in the trailer for this game for the Kickstarter, Iga did the same thing where he had a glass and he threw it.
Oh yeah, the video, like the Kickstarter video, and he throws. Yeah,
it's in the. I think it's in the developer. Oh, like the splash screen in the beginning. It's like the little 8-bit Iga throwing the glass to the side. I could be wrong.
Oh, and there is one other boss fight in DLC we haven't mentioned. Is you can actually fight Iga in this as a DLC that you have to pay for.
Oh, that's right. I never did that. I
didn't know there was any paid DLC for this.
It's $10 and you can fight him as a boss fight and to get some other stuff. But it was another stretch goal or something.
Oh, I'll have to check that out because this is a game where I want to give them money. Yeah. Like I was like playing it on Game Pass, and I was like, I'm gonna buy this eventually anyway and I didn't wait for a sale. I just bought it on Steam for the full price eventually. It's like I want them to have money.
I remember when it originally came out and I played it on Switch. I was like, this game is fantastic, but I don't know if I want to do all the extra content on here. I'll wait until I can get it on PC or another console, and then I'll replay it again because I loved it so much. I was like, yeah, I know I'm gonna replay it again. I didn't, but like now that I have it on Steam Deck and I'm kind of getting back into the groove of it, I might go through all that DLC and everything else. And there's just so much content in this game that you can go back to.
Yeah, I want to go back and beat it with Bloodless because I've never played of her before.
She's a little different because she starts off in her spawn room, and she already has the abilities to traverse the entire castle from when I was reading about it.
Oh, okay.
She's a much different playthrough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of like Zangetsu too. Like, I don't know about everything, but he has a grappling hook.
He has the grappling hook. He has his parry ability.
And a double jump.
I think he has double jump. I think he has the fire sword starting off too, doesn't he?
Yeah, he has the fire sword starting.
I mean, you have to know you have to like find. I think you just look in this pause screen. It tells you how to do his moves.
Yeah, right in the pause screen, instead of like seeing all your different armors and RPG elements, it's just here's your different moves. Yeah, like that's it. That's
Which
the whole
is what you wish Symphony of the Night would do with Richter, because you have to just kind of know those of Richter.
Yeah,
and that's why I didn't like it, because it's hard as hell as Richter for me. Like when I did try it, I had a really hard time with it.
Oh, I whenever I play Symphony, I have like a little notepad where I've written all of Richter's moves and all of Alucard's spells. And I just, because again, in that game, you know, Alucard, you can find spell books or you can buy them, but you don't have to because you know all the spells at the beginning. It's similar to how you. Yeah.
With Bloodless, one other comment I want to put, as you play as her, as you run out of MP, she has less clothes on because she wears blood.
Of course. Yeah.
Oh wow.
It's not as like.
So her MP is blood, I guess.
Yeah. It's not like it is in Parasite, the third birthday, where she gets beat up. But I mean, I guess I haven't seen it, but from what I was reading, it didn't sound as bad. It's just less clothing. But
that's funny.
Yeah, I thought it was a funny Easter egg. I mean, it makes sense because her blood. She's using her blood as her clothing.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Which is her magic. So yeah, it's just something funny, I thought.
Yeah,
but I love the fact.
I definitely want to try that mode. So you get it by typing Bloodless as your name.
Yes.
Cool.
This game also has another thing, a nightmare mode, which I will never, ever, ever touch, where you play the game at level 1. That's it.
Oh,
you're level 1. You cannot level up. You can get abilities, sure, you can get charge, but you cannot level up. The only reason I know about it because the completionist, I was watching his video before this, and he did that, and it's just like, my God, like no thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's certain enemies that like I just can't avoid being hit by.
He had to.
Yeah, like the freaking frogs, and those little frogs. Oh, they're like the dogs in Dark Souls. It's just like something about them. They're just like the right height where I can't hit them and they hit me. I can't hit them and I can't dodge them.
Yeah.
That's why I start running into any rooms where there's frogs, just immediately just cleanse with fire.
The flea men in Castlevania.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go. They're like the flea men in Castlevania, exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, God, the flea men. Oh.
Then it's so satisfying when you have the Crisagrim and you can just through them all. It's great.
I was thinking that Castlevania 1, the flea men, is probably why I've never beaten that game.
Yeah.
It's hard.
And then there's the flea men and Frankenstein.
Yeah, that's the boss of World 3. Yeah. Which is funny because that's my favorite. One of my favorite video game song is the theme to level 3 in Castlevania 1.
Mm-hmm.
But that level,
Aquarius, right?
Yeah, that level gives me like nightmares. That level is awful.
Oh, and we should speak the music in this game is pretty good, and the sound and everything.
It's amazing.
Oh,
the music is awesome. Sound design is great. Voice acting.
This might be like my second favorite Michiru Yamane soundtrack that she's done. You know, like right behind Symphony of the Night. It is so good. Like some of the songs that she made for this game. I'm trying to remember the Gebel's theme.
Yeah,
it's magnificent.
I totally agree with you. I have a lot of like love for Symphony of the Night soundtrack, and so but this is very close for sure.
Yeah, I have it on my phone. You know, it's one of those soundtracks that's just is a banger every time any of the songs come on. And like I said earlier, you know, there's a bunch of 8-bit songs that she wrote for the game too. That
are only in that 8-bit world.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I played this mostly with sound on, this wasn't really I of course like everything I had podcasts on at certain points, but I tried to listen to some of it.
Yeah, and that I remember the first time one of those times where you boot up the main menu and you wait for the whole cycle of that song to play because it just kind of grabs you and it's so good. Like I remember booting it up for the first time and hearing the theme and just kind of being blown away. I was like, oh yeah, she went full force for this game.
Yeah.
And she did such an amazing job.
Yeah. That is really good.
I enjoyed the music too. Any One of the random enemies you fight, we mentioned a little bit, you fight dogs and cats at different points because they're people who contributed to the game. Have warp
the demon
rooms.
Cats and the dogs. They're like Shih Tzus that the Shih Tzu heads that fly at you and stuff.
Yeah.
It's so random. That was when my kid was watching me play, and when I got to one of the demon cat things, he's like, "What? What?"
So funny.
Yeah. There's some really fun enemy designs in this game. I like the flying pigs.
I was just about to say that. Yeah, those flying pigs it's such a simple design, but I think it fits the world really well, and it gets the comedy of how the world is across very well. Just kind of the sense of humor of the game, a bit of how silly all of it is. It's great. Exactly.
And there's one of those when you first encounter the flying pigs, if you go kind of all the way to the right in that area, there's an Iron Maiden that you've got to move with the Craftwork ability, but you don't have Craftwork yet. And I accidentally discovered if you stand right next to the Iron Maiden and a pig dive bombs at you and you jump out of the way, he'll land inside the Iron Maiden. It'll close and slide out of the way.
Yes, so that's amazing.
I was able to get to that part because then that takes you to, I think, the well where you can then go down into the underground caverns. And so I was able to go to, or whatever area it takes you to, I was able to get to that area without.
I don't think.
No, it's not that. But anyway, I was able to get to. It's just a chest, yeah. So I was able to get to that without Craftwork because of that. And I did it on accident. And then I tried to do it with my Aurora run, and I just could not get it to happen again. Because my Aurora has like a little familiar flying around, and then my familiar kept killing the pigs.
You have to hurt him. I watched a video do it. You have to kind of hurt him over there because I actually didn't know how to move those things with Craftwork until I had to use it to move the Iron Maiden to get to Zangetsu second fight. So I was way later by the time I figured that out. And then when I went and got the item,
you did it with the pig on purpose then?
I didn't do the pig. I just saw it online.
Oh, okay. I will say, yeah, I did it completely on accident. I was just down there and a pig dive bombed at me. I was like, and I jumped out of the way and it cracked me up. I was like, that's
great.
That's such
fantastic.
A neat little touch. Yeah. I think that any enemy jumping into it would do that, but that's one that will actually dive bomb at you, so it would actually go into it.
I remember being in that area a lot just for farming. I mean, there's a certain kind of resource that you need from those flying pigs.
Yeah, pork. They drop. Oh, go ahead.
A plume pork, and they also drop a shard you need for something.
Yes, the shard. It's like a 0.002 percent chance of dropping. So I remember just farming that area a billion times.
Do they give
you get whatever it was?
They don't give you the luck shard, do they? They give you the shard that summons.
Something good.
Well, they give you a shard that summons them. I know that.
Maybe I can't remember. I just know that when I watched the speedrun video, they talked about in one of the old routes they used to have to farm those guys for something.
Yeah, I mean it's probably the plume that the feather that they drop.
Oh, that might be
used in a lot of recipes because those are used in a lot of recipes for things.
I love crafting in this game. I really did.
I liked upgrading shards. I upgraded the passive luck shard a bunch. Yeah, and I ran because I always like to play these games with high luck. So I was wearing luck items that increase my luck. So I was getting just tons of shard drops and tons of item drops. That's just kind of how I like to play these games.
That's the best way to play this, especially this game, because it has so much to it with that.
If you're trying to collect a bunch of stuff, for sure, yeah.
And then we should talk about the final fight. We have jumped around, but you do fight Dominique in there. And then you find out Dominique's been the villain this whole time because she was using Gebel. She was going to have you get possessed by the demon and use you because you're the most powerful, because you'd be more powerful by the end. Because as you're collecting shards, you're going to die, I guess is what it was eventually. Yeah. But they're trying to find a way to not make you die. And that's what the whole, after you finish beating Gebel. And then when you kill Dominique, then Dominique summons a giant demon called Bale, which you fight 3 giant heads, and she jumps around
and rotate around the room, and she rides inside the heads. And the heads, it's kind of an interesting fight because you can do it wrong and it can just take forever. Each of the heads has 10,000 HP, and if you kill one of the heads, it'll kind of shrink down and stop attacking you, but then it'll come back with full health. But she has her own health pool, and she's riding inside the heads, and she'll pop out of a head here, pop out of a head there, and if you hit the head that she's riding in, it damages her health pool. So you have to, it's an interesting thing because she'll switch from head to head, but it doesn't matter as long as you're hitting the head that she's currently in, she'll take damage. But if you're not, you can sit there and I wasted a bunch of time killing the other heads. I think this most recent time that I was playing it, And it took me a couple of tries to beat her because of that. Because I was like, wait a minute. I hit her head and I realized I was like, oh, wait a minute. She's on her own health pool.
Yeah, and this boss also kind of reminded me of, it's very Igavania again. Like the chaos.
Yes, it's very much chaos. Exactly.
Yeah. So at the end of Aria of Sorrow, like the final boss is basically this big circle of 3 circles, like circling the screen, and you just kind of have to hit these 3 things.
It's very much almost exactly this fight. Yeah. Only in Aria, you just have to kill each of the 3 heads, I think.
Yeah. Well, then there's like a second phase where it's like the whole room, and that the second phase of that fight be too much. But
yeah, I also don't like multiple boss fights in one area where you can't go back and heal and save and stuff in any of these type of games. But that's a me thing. Yeah,
well, I mean, that was why like I was trying to like I think it probably took me like maybe 10 tries to beat this final boss fight. And what I was getting to is I was like trying to get through Dominique without having to use any healing items because I knew I was going to need them all for the Bale fight. Because there's just so much of the damage Bale does that it's like really hard to avoid. Like the heads, like getting hit by the heads, especially just like when they go by you.
Yeah, they can do a lot of damage.
So I discovered that you can use invert, and then the head if you invert during the Bale fight, the heads are going in like the opposite way, because you've inverted it.
Oh, because you switched. That's cool.
And so then it makes it a lot easier. Basically, as soon as a head's like, so you're attacking a head, attacking a head. And then when it gets to the point where you can't attack it anymore, you just invert. And now it's vulnerable again because it's facing the opposite direction. And it's about to be, if that makes sense. So you can basically, whatever head she's on, you can keep it on the bottom or side at all times, basically keep it from being on the top. Because when she's on top, it's harder to hit.
Yeah, her box isn't really there.
Depends on what you're using. If you're using a great sword, you swing over the head, that can do it. Or if you're using magic, but otherwise, whenever she's on top, that's hard. So if you invert, then it becomes easier. So that's kind of what the trick was for me. And once I thought to try using invert, I think it took me 2 tries.
Okay. And then you get some kind of ending that, I guess the castle finally disappeared, and then the guy that's been with you the whole time says he's going to try to find a way to save her.
Yeah, and so that's why I think it does leave it open to a sequel.
I would like a sequel.
It ends with you not sure that everything's going to be okay.
I still can't believe this game came out in 2019.
3 years ago already.
Yeah, I thought it was older than that. But that's just because it was in the zeitgeist, because people were talking about it because of the Kickstarter and everything for so long that I thought it was out. Plus,
it was. He first said in 2014. He said he
was. Plus, COVID just feels like that was so much longer than what it really was. Like it was only 2 years ago that everything shut down here in Minnesota. Like in March of 2020, this is May 2022. Like it feels like so many more years have passed than what it really has been.
Yeah, I mean, I live in Texas. We shut down for like 3 months. So
and on Long Island in New York, we never really reopened until July the year after. Like we never really reopened.
I mean, I got promoted to a job in 2020 of January. We shut down in March for 2 weeks. They said they still aren't open yet.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't work there anymore, but I have friends. But yeah, they still never reopened that store that I got the manager job of. And yeah.
That's crazy. I'm a teacher. We were back in the classroom in August.
Oh, it's just one of those things. Like, ooh, I just can't believe it's only been 2 years.
But yeah, when Bloodstained came out, like so long ago, it's such a I don't know, I guess nostalgic time for me at this point. It was right after I graduated college. It was like that summer. I just got my Switch as a graduation present too. So like this was one of the first games that I got to play on my Switch and go through it. So I loved it for that aspect, but didn't run great. But just having like nothing to do after graduating, still like applying for jobs and everything, and just like the only thing outside of that was Bloodstained. That summer was just basically like Bloodstained and Persona 5 for me, I think.
Nice.
Yeah. Bloodstained. It's such a time sink if you want it to be. Like we were saying before, like it's easy to get caught. Just go into the next room. Oh, I'll go to the next save room. But yeah, it's great.
All right. Any last things you want to say before we go on to questions, comments, or memories? I think we covered most stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we covered it.
I actually thought this would be a shorter episode. Now we're almost at hour 36 raw. I'm okay with that. But It hit the right.
That is a short episode.
Yeah, because I've been recording lately. Oh yes.
For the ones that I've been on, when we talk about Star Wars for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. Talk about Star Wars for longer than the runtime of Star Wars.
Yeah.
Wait till we cover Empire Strikes Back.
Yeah.
I'm sure that will go longer than the runtime. All right, I watched the entire Overload Super Replay group. First one I got from Jacob Shoemake. Also, the blood grinder that goes ooh, whatever you meet. It has so my favorite of my cousins who watched me play this game. I actually used that guy's ability, and he said, I also want to say I had a lot of fun with this game, and the soundtrack fucking rules.
Mm-hmm.
And from Sebastian Games, got all the way to final boss with a good ending and could not beat her. That's why you get 50 or 60 pizzas and you'll be just fine. That's what I did. Because there's a spot in this game where you can farm money really faster if you have that one of the shards we talked about where you run faster. I would talk on the phone or put a podcast on and just do that for like half an hour. And that's how I got a lot of my money to buy pizza dough and just make tons and tons of pizzas. So yeah, it takes 4 pizza dough and 2 cheese to make a pizza in this game, and I will probably have that memorized for a very good long chunk of my life because I did it too much. All right,
I would say he mentioned the heretical grinder shard. That is, by the way, the trick to beating Alucard like super easy.
Yeah, I tried it for a couple bosses, but it just didn't do enough damage to make. Or I didn't have it upgraded enough. I don't think, but.
Yeah, that one I didn't use it for much, but yeah, against because Alucard or Orlok, he like stands on the ceiling. And you can just sit there and like kill him in like 10 seconds with it.
That's what I was gonna do, and that's why I decided like it wasn't worth it. But I did. I wanted to do that fight. I might, if I have time in a month, to go back and do that. We shall see, because I got a lot of shit planned for this show.
That is a cool shard. That it just looks so cool. So I agree.
I wouldn't even use it though. If I beat him, I'll just beat the game and be done. Like I'll be done with Miriam's playthrough completely at that point. To me.
No,
I would never
the heretical grinder shard. You get it early. You get it like super early.
I have it.
It's pretty powerful, but I just never use it because it's so. If you miss a fit, then you're kind of screwed. And
you got to stand still, and you can't stun lock people early in this game. So
exactly,
that's an issue when you're trying to do that. And from the Bloodstained Ritual Night group, I got one comment from Cody Leduc. It really feels like a continuation of Castlevania where Iga left off with Order of Ecclesia. And while I know this was meant to be a selling point, I think the game is a lit on the long side for me. It's huge. Also, I'm not crazy about crafting mechanics personally, but fortunately you don't have to get too crazy with it to beat the game so it's more of a nice option than necessary. It's more of a nice option than necessity. Unless you're going for all the side quests, I probably sound critical, but I honestly love the game as far as a post-release editions. I like Classic Mode a lot. It's essentially, in my opinion, a Castlevania 1 remake with Bloodstained assets that adds and changes things up while still being familiar, much like Metroid Zero Mission is to Metroid 1. No.
Yeah, that's a good point about it. Does have so much stuff in it, but it's almost all optional.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah,
I mean, you don't have. I mean, I didn't do half the. I'm not going to do any of the extra stuff really, other than like
the quests. Some of the quests are just ridiculous.
God, we didn't talk about that.
Yeah,
this game has side quests you can do where you can either
three different people giving you side quests.
I also didn't find the food lady until the very end of the game.
Yeah, I will say you probably did all the food. I got stuck on her. I could not ever get the materials to make macaroni.
I never found her. I
think macaroni was one of the last things I couldn't do.
The baked macaroni, I never could find the white sauce that you need for the baked macaroni, and I didn't feel like pulling it up. Yeah, well, then you could do it. You go back and make her that baked macaroni.
I actually only made her the rice ball because I found her after Dominique went missing.
Yeah, she does like rice balls.
She's in the room.
Yeah, she does rice ball, then French fries, then pizza, then macaroni, and but yeah, I never could figure out.
I never talked to her. Yep. I did the quest giver that wants you to kill certain enemies. I did all her quests. I finished her completely.
Yeah.
The woman who wants you to give her items, she wanted the fake God, what the hell is that thing called? Chrysogen?
Yeah.
But I never found it.
Oh, I got 2 of them because I gave her mine and then went and got another one so I could keep using it.
I just didn't care at that point. I was like,
It's the Reva Baral or something like that.
But I did all the kill stuff. I did that quest.
Yeah. So did I.
But it's cool that they're there. I mean, that's another thing that help you, like, just give you extra things to do in the game and extra reason to farm, which in turn will give you extra experience, will make you level up, which in turn make the game easier. Like, it's nice because some people don't want to just grind for hours. I'm one of them, but I mean, these type of games I can, but just having that aspect gives you more of a reason to grind. Like, that's one reason why this game hit so many things for me, because I could grind and get crafting items. I could grind and get money. I could grind and get this, and it kept me going. So.
Yeah.
All right. And then from the Metroidvania group, from Mason Ridgway, easily one of the best and for good reason. I don't remember the exact name, but I've seen a former Symphony Night employee directed it. Yeah. Jason Town, awesome game. I really enjoyed it. Great gameplay and music. From Renato Orlando, it is really good, as they say around, in question mark. I have always had some doubts in buying it. It's a great game, man. All right. And from David Boyce, my wife and I went through this game so many times. First 3 playthroughs, 1 for each difficulty, then Zangetsu mode, then another half dozen for randomizer mode, and another run for bloodless mode. I think the only game we ever collaboratively pump more time into would be Hades.
Wow.
And
Yeah, that's a lot.
I posted another Metroidvania group from Matt Terrell. My understanding is it had a bad launch. I didn't play it until a year or so later, but I enjoyed it. That was for the Switch, right? That had the bad launch?
Yeah, only the Switch version had the bad launch, because I remember seeing reviews for everything else being like, on PC and on Xbox, on PS4, everything is like perfect.
Yeah.
All right. And from Miguel Nunes, I like to try it, but as a Switch owner, maybe it could not be the best experience. Hope you have fun and enjoy it. Well, we just talked. It's improved.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what?
They patched it to where it plays wonderfully on Switch now.
Yeah, actually, I just remember the other discourse that it had when it launched was that it was missing a ton of the stretch goals that were promised. So people were very upset that like there wasn't enough content when it first launched. But they were like, no, we have a whole roadmap ahead, and then 3 years later,
wanted to
everything.
let you be able to play the game.
Yeah, but yeah.
I think that's a better way to do it anyway. Like have, you beat the game, you put it down, and then you find out, oh, now you can play as Aurora. Now you can play as Zangetsu. Now you can do boss rush, and it keeps you coming back.
Right, but I remember there was also a couple of things that people were upset with, that there were things on the stretch goals that were promised that were never delivered, but different things were instead. Like, I believe it was originally supposed to be a roguelike mode, and instead of that, they did the randomization mode. Yeah, like there were people that were upset about like missing things from the campaign.
Probably realized they couldn't do it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, 2014, 26, whenever the Kickstarter was, and the game doesn't come out 2019. I'm sure a lot of things changed that they just couldn't do that they wanted to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I look at it. And from Song Gold, it's Symphony Night meets Area of Sorrow with unfortunate graphics. I don't agree with that, but okay. I agree with the first part. It's not. I love the graphics, but I guess.
Yeah, I think the graphics are great. I guess. I mean, I don't. Like I said, I'm not a big fan of Miriam's design, but
that's because you're not into anime waifu.
Yeah, I'm not. So.
I mean, I get. And from Victor Castro, same. But I'm a big Metroidvania fan, but never played this for some reason. You should. You really should. All right, and this one from Joshua B. It lacked good music comparatively, but the vastness and weapon and combat options is great. Bosses were fun. Switch Sport has long load times and crashed on me a few times. Be sure to save copiously. But again, that's been patched out. But yeah, you can just see how many complaints people had about the Switch version.
Yeah, it was not great. Like, some load screens would be full, 10 seconds between rooms. Like, I remember one of the worst parts about it was you could jump up. Like, if you were jumping up into the room above you, you would wait for 10, 15 seconds for the room to load. And maybe look to the side, do something else, and then before you know it, you've jumped back down into the room below, and you have to wait another 15 seconds. It was not great. That's not something you want.
All right, and then the last group I'm going to read from, Official Leisure Time Community, where I met Kerry from. From Jordan Kirby. I like this game a lot, but I don't think it quite reaches the peak of the best Castlevania games, Symphony Night, Order of Ecclesia, Dawn of Sorrow, Area of Sorrow. Still was a lot of fun, though. I disagree. I haven't played all of them. I have never played Order Ecclesia. I do not like that word, by the way. Or Dawn of Sorrow, but so far to me, I think I enjoy this more than Symphony of the Night. I know that's blasphemy to say, but I think I did.
Yeah, I don't know if I enjoyed this more than Symphony of the Night. I among all of the Castlevania games, I still haven't played Portrait of Ruin or Order of Ecclesia, but I would say this is maybe better than Dawn of Sorrow. Not as good as Aria or Symphony of the Night. It's right in there, but all of these games, all the Igavania games are.
For me, it's the crafting, especially the cooking. The cooking for me makes this game better than Infinite Night because I had Symphony of the Night because I had other things to do. I never played Dawn of Sorrow. Area of Sorrow I enjoy, but I had problems with it.
I feel like for me, Symphony of the Night is just it's almost a perfect game for me, where I can just at any time I could just sit down and play it for an hour no matter what I'm doing. It's just like I love this game. I think Aria is probably like objectively better, but it's something about Symphony of the Night just perfectly hits everything for me. But I feel like this game does, like Josh said, it fits right in there with Aria and Dawn of Sorrow. If you like Aria of Sorrow, if you like Dawn of Sorrow, this is just more of that. And
with elements from Order of Ecclesia.
With elements from Order of Ecclesia, right.
Yeah.
I mean, this
which
game
I also
grabbed
haven't
me.
played. I haven't played Order of Ecclesia or Portrait of Ruin. So
Portrait of Ruin I really like, except for that final fight in Portrait of Ruin will test you. That's all I'm gonna say. So, really good damn game. Play Portrait of Ruin though if you get the chance. It's way better than people give it credit for.
Yeah, and that was the other thing I actually heard about Order of Ecclesia is that it's like the hardest one.
I've heard that too.
Yeah, daunting when I get to that eventually. But
I would own it, except for the fact that when I was collecting DS games, like I had Portrait of Ruin I wanted the cases, and finding DS games with the case, especially that was, I mean, I was going to GameStop, and so I want to pay a decent price, and yes, fuck no. And I only had Portrait of Ruin, but I'll emulate them.
I almost got there's an expo that goes around me, Too Many Games Expo, in Philadelphia, and when I went back in October, I almost got a Aria of Sorrow in box, like complete in box for like $85.
Damn.
But I missed out on it, and I'm very upset that I did, because that was actually a pretty good deal. And
It is.
Yeah.
I couldn't do it, but yeah, that is a good deal.
And it was right before the collection was announced, I believe. So
the collection, I want to buy the Advanced Collection. I'm just waiting for a 50% off sale, and I'm going to buy it for sure, even though I want to support them, but I can't pay for it.
That's like I was saying. I mean, I've now bought. I bought it on Virtual Console, and then I bought the Advanced Collection too. So I'm good. I don't need to own the physical version.
No, I emulate, but I don't need to own it. But I do, if they make a DS version, like a DS collection, which I wish they would, that I might buy pretty quick on Steam, because emulating DS games is not the easiest thing in the world, or look the greatest.
No, yeah, it's pretty hard to get a good DS emulation going, which is why, again, like I was saying before, I'd rather get the physical versions if I can. Because also, just like, I love playing on a DS, just like physically holding one. So if you can do that, it just feels right, like how the game was supposed to be done.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they're going to shut down shops and everything and make it where you have to pay collectors absorbent prices, then the time is right to get yourself a 2DS XL and homebrew it.
Yeah. Or brush off your old 3DS XL, because we know that thing sold like hotcakes, and
I have one.
Everyone has one. Yeah.
Yeah. I have a 3DS XL that I just want to get I want to get one of the new ones that has a little more processing power before I homebrew it.
Oh, and a couple more I want to read. One from Alan Matthew. I was a Kickstarter background. It's the only thing I have ever crowdfunded, and I don't regret any penny. Fantastic game. From Jimmy Hustleman. I had a lot of fun with both Curse of the Moon 1 and 2 also. All right, here's a good one that's a little different than us. From Matthew Halber. I was so looking forward to this, and it never clicked with me, and I can only blame my allergy to anime aesthetics, which makes me feel like a dummy. Played the shit out of Ritual of the Moon, though. Curse of the Moon. Glad it's working for most people, it seems.
Yeah, that was a big thing. I remember when the announcement of this game came, was like there was some pushback about how anime it was. Yeah, some of the arts. I remember when I first saw it, I was kind of pushed back. I was like, oh, that's just another anime Japanese game.
I can definitely see that. Anime aesthetic doesn't bother me. I'm just not a fan of, like I said, the cheesecake thing is the thing that I don't like. Is more, I don't know what it is, but it just like.
There's nothing wrong with it. You don't like having exploitation in a sense. Like, I get it. There's nothing wrong with that.
I guess. I don't know what it is. But.
Well, because it can lead... I mean, in this game it doesn't, but I mean, the idea of exploitation of women has led to terrible things, and with you being a history teacher, you know exactly what those terrible things are more than other people do. So
I don't mean to be like, oh, it's because of that. I don't know what it is.
But no, I feel like that could...
It definitely does turn me off.
Be subconscious.
But the anime aesthetic in general doesn't bother me at all. Like, I do like it in general. I love Zangetsu. Like, I am very much a weeb. I love Zangetsu.
Yeah, it's also voiced by David Hayter. We didn't really talk about the voice cast either.
Forgot about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of the great things that I saw when a great announcement from the game was like, David Hayter is coming on to voice like a main character in the game. And it's like, that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, he's
I
Zangetsu.
forgot all about that. Yeah,
I like that.
And they had the original Alucard voice actor.
OD, right?
Yeah, he played OD, which is basically Alucard.
Right.
Yeah.
And I have
Orlok Dracula.
2 more comments to read. One from Rob McQueen. I love it. It's always risky to take the core idea and shove it into a new IP, but Iga and company did a great job here. The Curse of the Moon games are unexpected bonuses, especially the first one, because it would just kind of launch while Bloodstained was still in production. Like, surprise, working on this whole game as well. Speaking of, I guess I had better get back to playing this with Child of Light DLC. And last one from Chris L. I really like Curse of the Moon, but wasn't sure what to expect with a big game since I played so many Metrovanias. But something about it just clicked, and I still don't know why I liked it so much more than other games in that style. Symphony Knight's my favorite game of all time, tied with Mario World. And Ritual of the Night somehow recaptured that. Also, Curse of the Moon 2 is amazing.
Yeah, Curse of the Moon 2 it's really good.
Yeah, I've got to make sure to buy that while the 3DS eShop is still open.
Yeah, I think it made my top 10 list that year, last year, 2 years ago, whenever it came out. But
Okay.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good game.
because I love the first one. The first one's very good.
And because I forgot to do this, I'm gonna do the Steam code giveaway now.
Ooh.
So this is for Sonic and Sega All Stars Racing Steam code. The Steam code is E2EVMA7QLI0DM2B. All right, and there is your Steam code for Sonic and Sega All Stars Racing for Steam. Hopefully
Very
somebody
nice.
uses it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right, I think we should go on to Shelf Stacker Box. And Kerry, why don't you go first?
Oh, I mean, shelf for sure. Like I'm probably gonna play this game again in the next month. Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to put this on the shelf also. I was blown away with this game. Like I said a little bit before, I couldn't sleep. Like there was a night where I just wanted to go to sleep so I could wake up in the morning before take my wife to work, and then I have like 2 hours before I have to go to work and just play this damn game. And instead I didn't sleep, stayed up, played the game. In the morning, was tired, woke up, like I'm going to take a nap. Couldn't sleep again and wait and play the game some more for another hour. That never happens to me. I got obsessed with this game, and going on the shelf, I loved it. I want to play it more, or I definitely want to go be OD, and I want to try Get 2 mode, but I need to play other stuff. But I might get to it if I have time, because it's just that good. Oh, what about you, Josh?
Yeah, absolutely shelf. If I had a physical copy, which I honestly should probably get, I would. It's going up on the shelf. I remember when I first got it, I had wanted the physical copy so I could shelve it, and the shipment got delayed, so I just bought it digitally. But I might get like PS4 copy or something physically.
It's limited run, right, for this game?
Yeah, limited run. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought
harder.
about doing that too.
I don't collect the physical anymore after I moved. I learned not to. I just got tired of it because I own probably over 1,000 games, I want to say, physically.
Yeah, same here.
And
Yeah,
I'm this ain't fun.
I started selling a lot of my physical collection and buying digital recently, just because I don't put anything on display, and so it's like, what am I doing with this anymore? So
It's all on display in my basement now.
yeah, I had a complete inbox of Chrono Trigger. And I sold it.
God.
I sold it in 2017. If I just held on to it, it's more. It's like almost doubled. I think I sold it for like $380.
Oh,
Wow.
I have the cartridge actually straight above my head right now on display, but I don't. When I was a kid, I threw away SNES boxes, so I don't have I don't have.
No,
all
I
that.
kept all my boxes and manuals. So I say complete
Smart
in box.
bastard.
I actually kept them. I kept the 2 posters, and I sold the rest. So the box and the manual.
Okay.
So, but yeah, it's like 380, 385. Because I was like, well, I have it on DS, so that's the best version. So I don't I don't need the Super Nintendo version anymore.
Yeah, my friend just moved, and she went through all her old parent stuff and all her old video games. She's like, yeah, I know my parents have old video games. They never threw anything out, so we'll see what they have. And like, she doesn't care because she doesn't like hoarding stuff. And but I like had to force her to save these games and not just like throw the boxes out, because she had like a ton of Super Nintendo games in box. She had Super Mario RPG complete in box, like for Super Nintendo. What was the other one? She had A Link to the Past, Mega Man X, just like a bunch of
A lot of good games.
Yeah,
yeah.
I kept like almost everything in box. So I sold like Mega Man 3, Mega Man 5, Chrono Trigger, Maximum Carnage, Mario Kart, Super Mario World, a few others, like all with everything, manuals, inserts, everything before the pandemic. And then now prices have skyrocketed. And I'm like, if I just held on to it for a couple more years.
Right, yeah. And the thing is,
2017, I just sold almost most of my physical games.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, she was either going to throw them out, and I'm like, no, you don't throw them out, sell them. She's like, I'm not going to sell them. I'm not going to go. Like, she had tried to sell some things before, nothing sold, and I'm like, well, like, just don't just take care of them because those things are like precious. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, especially now.
Definitely don't throw them out. If you don't want it, then sell it, make some money.
Or just give it away to Goodwill or something.
Or give it away so we can buy it.
You'll make somebody super happy that will have no idea who you are, that will just be just excited. So
yeah.
I mean that I at one point was gonna sell a bunch of my games. I just dropped off a whole bunch to Goodwill, like of my sports games, because I was a 360 collector, so I just had a insane amount of stupid sports games for absolutely no reason. I was like, why do I have these? And I just grabbed them all and went, here you go. Away they went. Yeah, it's just one of those things. Well, I was an achievement whore. So I tried to sell other copies of my stuff, and I picked it up, put it in the car, went to the store, went nope, and turned around, and it went right back on the shelf. And that's where it is. I couldn't do it. I just can't. I won't. I don't really collect anymore. Oh, I collect Steam names on my Steam list. I can look. Oh, look at everything I own. I'll never play. That's all I do now. So
yeah, if there's if I had digital editions of all of my physical games, I'd consider it. But I have so many retro games.
I mean,
that
I do with my PS2 collection. I have every PS2 game and GameCube game on a weird little square next to me. That's next to me, but still have the actual copies. But that's a different thing.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not the same. But yeah, all right. I think I should introduce what we're talking about next week. Next week we are going to be covering Super Mario Sunshine. You get to look forward to that, and it's from my favorite year ever, 2002.
One of the best years of gaming, I think.
Oh, God. I hope you're being sarcastic.
No. Metroid Prime.
Yeah, okay, there are good games, but you should look at all the shit in 2002. We did an episode Year in Game about 2002.
I was on that.
Oh, yeah, what the hell am I talking about?
I was just rattling them off. There's lots of
there's good ones, but Robotech Battle Cry. I mean, there's just... I talked enough about that.
All right, that's 2002.
Well, you can hear all about that already out last week. Comes out in...
Metroid Fusion...
Yes, okay, there's
Sly Cooper, Morrowind,
oh, Sly Cooper,
Ratchet and Clank 1. Ratchet and Clank 1 is shitty, by the way. First one.
Really? You don't like Ratchet and Clank 1?
Not the first one.
Ooh, that's a steaming hot take.
We did an episode about that too, and I don't think none of us were really that crazy about
Star Wars Bounty Hunter.
That's an episode too. I wasn't crazy about that game, but I played it wrong.
I was
the first Splinter Cell.
That game.
I've never played the first Splinter Cell or any.
My favorite, Tony Hawk 4.
Never played any Splinter Cells yet. I need to remedy that one.
Resident Evil Remake.
Okay, fine. There's good games for us.
2002 was a great year. Wind Waker.
Medieval Total War. The Buffy the Vampire Slayer game.
And so I think that's... Oh, and Kerry, where can people find you at?
Hey, so I'm Kerooseta, Kerooseta on Twitch and TikTok. I repair and modify video game consoles and play a whole lot of Souls games and occasionally Castlevania.
All right. And Josh, you don't have anything to plug, do you?
Well, yeah, I stream on Twitch. I haven't streamed in about a month. I took some time off. But yeah, imeanleafeon on Twitch. I mean Leafeon, like the Pokemon. And then at Schwa Camel on Twitter, ShuaCamel on Twitter. But yeah, I just finished Dark Souls, and I was only a couple streams into Final Fantasy VI. Well, Final Fantasy 3, the original on Super Nintendo, so I've been playing through that. Yeah.
Okay. And you will see a link in the show notes to both of them in here.
Yep.
I apologize. I forgot to ask that you had anything to stream, so I didn't, or had anything to plug, so I forgot to have you do it in the beginning of the opening.
Yeah, I followed you on Twitch.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
I don't use Twitch like I should. I follow a few people, but I don't even load it up. I just have it. I need to make it one day. All right. And if you enjoyed this episode, you can hear over 300 other episodes on this podcast. If you can't find what you're looking for on Spotify or iTunes, use Podbean. Everything is on Podbean. You get our whole catalog. We do movies, we do comics, we do games, we do all sorts of shit. Just go look at it. You'll find something, I'm sure. You'll find something you want to listen to in the wee hours of working. And I want to give a shout out to my awesome intro outro courtesy of Helena at Hell Hatsphere. You can follow her on TikTok. And give a shout out to my buddy Bill Tucker, who started his own podcast, A Gamer Looks at 40, he did all the MCU movies with me. We covered the Infinity Saga. And he's going to help me when we do more eventually because we're insane. Slowly, I want to cover more of the Marvel movies. Every time I watch them, I go, man, I love these movies. I want to cover more. Then I'm like, what are you thinking, Mike? Every time. Like
it's a challenge.
Yeah, it's hard when the show started. I'm just like, I just don't care. I just got overwhelmed and we only cover WandaVision so far in phase 4. And Black Widow is planned to record. That's it. So, we'll see. And if you would, I think that's everything and please follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. We're only audio, but we're on YouTube. And we have a Patreon. For as little as $1, you can go vote in our Patreon. The current poll is sequel poll, Resident Evil, Venom Let There Be Carnage, Resident Evil Apocalypse, Venom Let There Be Carnage, Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back, or Blade 2, and Blade 2 is currently winning. You have until the end of May 2022 to vote in that. So you will hear this right before the end of May. So you have a little bit of time to donate $1 and vote. So help us out. It helps the show out. Makes me happy to see people vote and care what I put on the poll. So hey, we'll do that. All right, and I think that's everything I need to say. So we will see you guys all next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.